So in terms of rumors, there's another big one floating about Canon and their point and shoots. So the G1X Mark III is rumored to have an APS-C sensor in it. Probably going to be the same one from the 80D. Now it's also rumored that the G3 and G5X Mark II or whatever will also have the same APS-C sensor. Now it's not clear if the 7 will, if the other models in the range will. But that makes, what we're seeing out of Canon is an emphasis on automation, an emphasis on cost-effective sensor development and dissemination in order to maximize profit while also maximizing production efficiency. If you can make one sensor for all of your APS-C cameras, like Canon is going towards, they already have the vast majority of their cameras only using one, in terms of APS-C cameras, only using one sensor. The only outlier being the 7D Mark II and the older cameras, right? From there, you can just push forward, right? You don't have to. The way economies of scale work, right, is take a Walmart or an Amazon, for example. They can afford to charge way less than the competition on a lot of things, from toilet paper to TVs, because they have scale, right? Because it doesn't actually cost the manufacturer as much to make it as it's being sold for. There's a load of margin in there. And because they have this huge scale of distribution, they can force the price down to be better for the consumer. And then, people like Best Buy and whatever else can hike all those prices back up, because that's what those manufacturers are more powerful than a retailer like Best Buy. But with guys like Amazon and Walmart, they're using this huge economy of scale to push the price down to make everything more efficient, right? Walmart's big, huge selling point as a company, like what they really do perfectly is logistics. That's what's made them what they are now, arguably. And I think that's not entirely that arguable, but I'm sure someone would like to argue that. What Canon's doing is saying, we're going to do something similar. We're going to make this one sensor what we use in as many of our cameras as we can get away with going forward, because by producing 8 or 10 times as many of this exact same sensor as we would have otherwise done, and put the exact same processor in, again, 8 or 10 times more than we would have otherwise done, we're actually going to cut costs on acquiring those materials, on producing them, and we can produce them more and faster at bigger scale for less cost per unit. So I don't know any actual numbers. I'm just going to hazard a guess. If it used to cost $100 or call it $25 to make a sensor, to make an APS-C sensor, like the one in the 80D that is now in 8 cameras and very feasibly could be in these power shots. If it used to cost $25, that would be $25 for each camera in the line, right? And there was some differentiation before, right? Anyway, point being that now, because it costs $25 to make it for one camera, when you spread that across 10 cameras or more, you're bringing the price down to $5, say, because you're making so many more for all of these cameras. And so because of that, the margins are much bigger. If you need a very specific type of material, like a mineral or a metal or something along those lines, you're going to be buying in so much more bulk in order to lower that cost. So and you don't have to worry about retooling your factories as often. You can increase your level of automation because you're only dealing with making one sensor. You don't have to retool the machine every, third week to make all the sensors for the next year for the next one or whatever. So you're saving a lot of time, which is efficiency, which is money. You're saving a lot of energy in terms of, being able to produce it at scale. So this is a huge move out of Canon. If they can put these APS-C sensors into their power shot lines, they're not only going to be making better point and shoots than the competition, but it's going to really open some doors for that R&D money to be pouring back into Canon. So everybody lost a huge market share when point and shoots really kind of tanked, when compact cameras kind of tanked because of smartphones. People are still buying those, obviously. But when you go and you say, we're going to maximize the efficiency of producing this one sensor for all of our cameras, all of our APS-C cameras at any rate, you're also increasing your margin and increasing your profit, and that's that's replacing, as much as possible, some of that lost revenue out of the smartphones, out of what the smartphones took, which was the compact cameras. So, like, from a business perspective, Canon is just on the ball, right? On point by doing this. This is a huge move out of them. I think a lot of people are just like, oh, an APS-C size censored, point and shoot. Oh, that's really cool. But it's also like, this is way more R&D dollars. If, Canon's big issue was, oh, we can't fit 4K full frame into a DSLR. Well, we have the Sonys to show us that you can, and then they say, oh, but overheating issues. We have the huge amount more data out of the GH5 to say, oh, you can, and then Sony coming out with the A9, which says you can. So, I mean, Canon, this is a way for Canon to get the R&D dollars to be able to innovate again. And I don't know if they will, they probably won't, it's Canon, but now they have the opportunity to, right? When they bring this product to market, when they bring the future products to market that are still all using the exact same sensor, I think it's going to be a really, really big deal to see where Canon goes from here. I think we're going to start seeing that with the 7D Mark III and with the 90D, to be completely honest. So I think this, obviously, I've said it a lot, big deal. So anyway, thank you very much for your time and for your attention. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one.